Hello, my name is Val and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will show you two lessons teaching a folklore genre, a myth. These lessons are designed for grade 5 and 6 learners, but if you have strong students, they can also work in grade 4. In the first lesson, students learn 3 elements of a myth, focusing on 6 magical creatures. In the second lesson, students listen to and read a myth called The Story of Luna and Sunny, and do a few exercises to develop critical thinking skills. If you like what you see here, please like this video and consider subscribing to my channel for more content. Enjoy the lessons, and I'll see you in my next video.
Let's take a good look at both lessons. Here's lesson number 1, myths. By the way, these lessons are available for sale in my store and Teachers Pay Teachers. You can get them as a bundle. After you watch this video, if you like these lessons, you can go to my store and buy them. There's a link above, and also there is a link in the description below the video. So let's get to the lesson. Show this slide to the students and make sure that every student has a pencil and notebook ready, because they'll have to take notes. In the next slide, you can retrieve information from your students to see what they know. You can ask what do you see here? What do you think this character, who do you think this character is? And things like that. And then introduce the character. Say, hello, my name is Frofo. Today we will talk about myths. And then the boy asks, what is a myth? Again, you can try to elicit it from the students to see maybe someone already knows what a myth is. If not, show the next slide. And the next slide explains that a myth is a made-up story that explains something about the world. For example, myths explain where thunder comes from or why snow falls from the sky. Ancient people used the myths to explain how things worked in the world. These stories were not true. They were just a way to explain things people could not understand. And next, in the next slide, you are going to ask how many parts does a myth have, and introduce the parts of the myth. So we have characters, we have problem, and we have life lesson. Well, there are more parts to that, but we are starting slow. We're starting simple. And these are the main characters. So if you click on the speech bubble, it's going to take you to the slide where you can learn more about each myth element. So let's click characters, and it takes us to the character page. So some characters in myths are gods, some characters in myths are goddesses. For example, this is Hera, Zeus's wife. And some characters in myths are magical creatures. And this is our main focus for this lesson. We're going to go through 6 magical creatures, and we're going to learn what they are. So this is the unicorn. This is a griffin. Again, I'm not going to go through all the text. You can do it with your students. This is a dragon. This is a centaur. This is a mermaid. And this is a phoenix. Yeah, so you can talk and explain what these creatures do. Then here you have a home button. Let's click. And it takes us back to the original slide. Now let's take a look at the problem. What is a problem? Each myth explains something that happens in nature by using gods, magical creatures, or humans. Yeah. So for example, a myth can explain where thunder comes from. So this is the problem of the myth. And let's go back. And now we can click on the life lesson. Each myth teaches us an important lesson. It helps us understand what is right and what is wrong. Here, I have a link that you can copy paste into your video, and you can embed your video. You can embed this video into this lesson. You watch it together with your students and discuss the life lesson they've learned. I'm going to leave a link to this video in the description below the video as well, but it's here. It's on the slide, so you can easily copy paste it and watch it on YouTube. All right, so when you go through all the three myth elements, then click next, and here's the first exercise that you can do together. It's called erase a word. How do we do that? Have your students split into two teams. Write two lists of unit words on the board, one for each team. Each team forms a line leading to the board. When given the signal, the first student on each team goes up to the board, points at the first word in the team's column, and reads aloud that word. If the student reads the word correctly, he or she erases that word and moves to the back of their line. The first team to erase all the words on their list wins. So this is what it may look like in your class, and it's a vocabulary exercise, and at the same time, it's a pronunciation exercise. So if they pronounce the word correctly, Griffin, they get to erase it. But if they mispronounce it, or if they make a mistake, like say Griffon or Griffin or whatever, then they don't get to erase the word and they don't get to get a point. It's a simple, fun, yet very effective exercise. Here's the next one. What am I? In this exercise, we have a remote control and we have 6 creatures. So they need to listen and guess. So all you need to do is to click the buttons on the remote. Start with 1. Listen to me describe a magical creature, and then you can do it in pairs. For example, you can invite a student from each team to stand up. They listen to the description, and whoever guesses the creature first gets a point. And you can actually do it this way. So for example, they can say the letter. They don't have to say the word. If they say the letter, and if the letter is correct, they get a point. But if they can say the creature's name, then they get 2 points. You know, it's more challenging. So let's give it a listen. So I'm going to click on 1, and we are going to listen to the description. Let's do this.
I am half horse, half man. I have 4 legs and I can run fast. What am I?
Well, the answer here would be centaur, right? So they can say E or they can say centaur. If they say E, they get 1 point. If they say the word centaur, they get 2 points. Now, if you click on the image, it's going to disappear, but it's optional. You know, you can challenge your students by, you know, leaving all the images on the slide, or you can remove it one by one so it's easier for them. So it really depends on how strong your students are. Okay, let's go on. Correct the sentences. In this exercise, you display a sentence. For example, dragons have the body of a bird, and your students need to think and correct it. You know, this is where you try to foster critical thinking skills, reading comprehension skills, so they remember. So hopefully they can remember from the text that dragons do not have the body of a bird, but they have a body of a lizard. And again, this exercise, you can do it as a whole class activity, or you can do it in pairs. All right, number 2. Mermaids are half woman, half man. No, mermaids are half woman, half fish. By the way, in Chinese, mermaids are 美人鱼, which means beautiful fish. It's a funny Funny translation. Beautiful fish. I like it. 3. Centaurs are part goat, part man. 4. Unicorns have 2 long horns on their heads. And number 5. Griffins have the body and back legs of a tiger, which is wrong. All right, next exercise. And this is a group work activity. They need to write the words. So it's a group work. Split your class into small groups. Again, I don't know how many children you have in your class, maybe 24, maybe 20, maybe 30, 40, 50. So it's really up to you how many students you want to have in a group. But the idea is that they get into groups, or you can even do it in pairs, that they work together. Then you display this slide and you ask the students to write down the definitions here on a piece of paper. Also, as an option, you can invite a student from a team, not a group, a student from one team to do this exercise on the board. You give them some time, let's say, I don't know, like 2 or 3 minutes. And then they just, when they complete the exercise, you reveal the answers. Ta-da! And they can check the answers, and then you can ask how many mistakes they made. So it's also a good exercise that checks comprehension. What is it they remember from the text you taught them? Next, this is the part where they need to copy these sentences in their notebooks. It's important that they take notes because, let's say in my classes, we have review tests, we have exams, and they need to be able to learn not just language, but also content. So these would be content questions. And you can finish this class with an optional activity. It's an optional thing. You can actually spend a whole class doing it, but I'm giving it to you as an option. Let's draw a magical creature. Your students are going to need a piece of paper and a few colored pencils. And they need to invent a magical creature. Draw it here and write about it here, right? So the easiest way you can explain them, it's when you put 2 animals together. In my example, I have a crocofrog. There we go. It is half crocodile, half frog. It has the body of a crocodile and the head of a frog with 4 eyes. It likes to eat homework for breakfast. What do you think? Right? And this is the end of the first class. There is a lot of information, many choices. You can design it in any way you want, but what I have here is definitely gonna work and your students are going to love it. Okay, and now let's take a look at lesson number 2. Lesson number 2, the story of Luna and Sunny. We are going to start this lesson with a review. It's very important to review what you've taught before. So you do it as a whole class activity. What did we learn last week? And your students need to raise their hands and say, last week we learned what myth is, yeah? And we learned about 6 magical creatures, yeah? Something like this. It doesn't matter what kind of answers your students give. Here you just need to make sure they remember what you did last week. And then you ask them questions, content questions. What is a myth? And hopefully they can say that a myth is an old story that explains something about the world. So first, and it's important, remember to elicit the answers from your students without showing the reply on a PPT slide. And then you can read it together with the whole class. So like this. How many parts does a myth have? Please raise your hands, raise your hands. When you get the answers from them, then you show the answer and then you say together. A myth has 3 parts: characters, problem, and life lesson. And then here you review 6 magical creatures. Yeah, so you can ask what is number 1, what is number 3, what is number 4, and so on. Make sure they have a pencil and notebook ready because they'll have to take notes. And tell them that today we're going to read a myth called The Story of Luna and Sunny. They need to listen, take notes, and answer the question. In this part of the lesson, so you go through the questions. These are actually elements of a myth elements. Who are the characters? Where does the story happen? This is setting. What is it about? This is plot. What problem does it explain? It is problem. And what is the lesson of the story? Here's the life lesson. So characters, setting, plot, problem, and life lesson. So as they listen, they need to write short answers to these questions. And then you are going to click on the play button. It's behind me. There's a big play button, and your class is going to listen to the whole myth. This part is designed for your strong students, but your weak students can also benefit from it because they can listen. They just need to get a gist, a main idea of the story. Yeah. So you click play, and then you're gonna hear the whole story narrated by me. All right, after you've listened to it, on the next slide, now you're going to ask questions. Who are the main characters? Well, I'm pretty sure they're gonna get it because the story is not very difficult, and they're gonna tell you that there are 3 characters in the story. Sunny, Luna, and Zeit, the dragon. By the way, a fun fact, I took the name for the dragon from the Rammstein song, Zeit. I'm a big fan of Rammstein, and I thought that the German word Zeit, which means time, would be a good name for this character in the myth. You don't need to tell it to their students, but I thought it would be interesting for you to hear. So 3 characters in the story. Next question. Where does the story happen? The story happens in a magical world, so hopefully your students are going to get this answer to you. And then you show them the image, and yes, the story happens in a magical world, or you can, if they say it happens in the sky, it's also acceptable. Next question. What is it about? It's open for discussion. You can talk to your students. If you see that they struggle, you give them 3 options. Then they read these options and choose the one that's right. So in this case, it's number 2. It is about 2 sisters who bring the day and night to people. Now, group work. So this is part 2 of the lesson. In this part, you put your students into groups. Again, it's up to you how many groups you want to have. It all depends on the number of the students in your class. So in groups, you need to choose a captain. Each group member needs to write numbers 1 to 15 in their notebook. They need to listen to the story, and every member of the group needs to write down the missing words. And the captain is the one who is going to make sure that the final answer is the right one. So when everyone in the groups has written all these 15 numbers in their notebooks, here's what you're going to do. So you show them the next slide. This is the same story they listened before. And you see some words are covered. So they need to listen to the story one more time. They listen and read it. Yeah. And also, as they listen and read it, they need to write down the words in their notebooks. So let's listen to the first slide. Let's click the play button, which is behind me, and listen to the first slide. Here we go.
Right now, in a magical world, there are two sisters, Sunny and Luna. Sunny has golden hair like the sun, and Luna has silver hair like the moon. Sunny brings the day to people, and Luna brings the night to people. Sunny and Luna love to play together in the sky. The world below them is happy because of the warm day and the cool night.
There we go. And the next slide. Again, you click on the play button, listen to it, write down the words. Slide number 3, slide number 4, and slide number 5. The story is not long. It's not going to take a very long time to listen and complete it. Okay, so when they finish the story, let's check your answers. So captains in each team need to talk to all the group mates to make sure they got all the words right. And it's okay if they didn't get some of the words. It's fine. This is just a different way to read a story in class. And also it gives you a pretty good idea which words are difficult for them and which words you need to maybe practice more, But I made sure the words are not too difficult. I'm pretty sure at this level your kids should be able to write them all. And also in groups, they can get like a sticker or some sort of small award if they got all the words right, or the group that got the highest number of words correctly. Okay. And then you click next and they can actually check the words, or you can do it together with your class. So these are the words. As you can see, they're not too difficult for grade 5 or 6 students. Next, what is the best word? So here you can do it, this exercise, you can do it in pairs. You invite a pair of students, one student from each team, and they need to think. You see, it's not a multiple choice question. It's just a sentence, but it is related to the story. So they need to think and tell you and choose the best word. So if they read it carefully, if they listen to it carefully, they would say that Sunny has golden hair, right? Next one. Zai tells Sunny that she is better than Luna, right? So and so on. So critical thinking skills is your main goal, objective here in this exercise. In the next exercise, they need to put the sentences in the right order. You can do it as a whole class activity, or again, you can do it in groups. So this is a great exercise that fosters their reading comprehension skills. Next part of the lesson, problem. What problem does the myth explain? And hopefully by now your students are going to understand that this problem, this myth explains why we have day and night. Yeah. So Luna is the goddess of the night and Sunny is the goddess of the day. Yeah. So they hopefully by now they'll be able to do that. Life lesson. What is the life lesson of the story? It's the most important part. So have a short conversation with your student. Have a brief discussion here. And then you can give them, 3 choices. And then they can choose the best one. A, show your friends you are the best. B, work together and don't be jealous. C, jealousy helps you get what you want. So in this case, the correct answer is B. The moral of the story, the life lesson of the story is work together and don't be jealous. Yeah, we are weak if we are alone, but we are strong together. It's good to have friends. It's good to be together, because when you're together, you are strongest in anything you do. So here, like again, this is a very big topic, so you can talk a lot about it here, and this is where you actually teach right from wrong, and your students hopefully understand it. Yeah. All right, and you end this lesson with a request to write the sentences in their notebooks. I do it every time after I finish a book or a lesson, because if they can write it down this way, it's very easy to answer the question. For example, what is your favorite story? And they can just go through their notes and give a beautiful answer. And again, this is an optional activity, but I strongly recommend that you do it, because it's fun. And it also helps, develop critical thinking skills, creativity, and reading comprehension. Let's make a storyboard. Yeah, so they'll need a storyboard, and also they'll need a few colored pencils, or just a pencil if they don't have any colored pencils in class. And they need to draw pictures and write the story. You can actually dedicate a whole class to that. Here's an example. This is my attempt to draw Sunny and Luna. And here's the first sentence. In a magical world, there are two sisters, Sunny and Luna. By the way, I have included the storyboard template in the bundle. So you can see it on, if you buy this lesson as a bundle, and I think it's best if you buy it as a bundle, because these two lessons go together. So it is included in the bundle. There is a storyboard. You can download it there separately. Just wanted to make a quick note. And voila, this is the end of the class. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it was too long, but if you're a teacher, if you want to get this lesson, if you want to use this lesson in your classes, I thought it would be a good idea if I showed it to you here, so you would know what you are getting. Thank you very much. I'll see you in my next video.